Today we're going to bake Shokupan bread. What a lovely day to bake. My name is Arne, a German hobby baker who's living in Luxembourg. Today we're going to bake a Shokupan bread. This Japanese milk bread is easy to make and it is super delicious. I've made a variant with the Tangzhong. There you cook water or milk and flour in a ratio of 5:1 in order to gelatinize the starch of the flour, and this will help you to bind more hydration into your dough. So let's get started. This is from Luxembourg with loaf. The evening before we bake, we create our sweet stiff starter by combining 220 grams of wheat flour with 110 grams of water. And we also add 30 grams of sugar, and then we give it a little stir with a spoon before we add 10 grams of sourdough starter. I'm here using my wheat sourdough starter. This works best for this recipe. Try to combine it with a spoon, and when it's getting too stiff, we take our hands and knead it a little bit, and then we fill it back into a glass, add a rubber band to mark the height for seeing the fermentation level at the next day, and then leave it on the countertop. We also create our Tangzhong the evening before by combining 200 grams of water as well as 40 grams of flour. I could have also used milk for that already. Then I'm using a whisk, or in this case a spatula, but I would prefer using a whisk because it helps you to better incorporate the flour, and at moderate heat you stir it until you get a thickened flour paste. And then you fill that into a glass. And this really helps you to increase the hydration level without making the dough too hard to handle. And then we cover everything with a plastic wrap and put the plastic wrap directly on the Tangzhong, and this goes into the fridge overnight. The next day it's time to prepare our main dough, and first of all look at the sweet stiff starter. It really raisins a lot overnight. That's 370 grams. I also need 180 grams of milk, 2 eggs. We need 40 grams of sugar as well as 10 grams of salt, 60 grams of butter. We need our Tangzhong, 240 grams, and then we also need 600 grams of flour. And this all goes now into my mixer one by one. First of all, I'm adding the milk as well as the flour, and then I'm also adding the Tangzhong and my sweet stiff starter. It has a beautiful aroma. Then it's time to turn on the mixer and mix at low speed for about 10 minutes. If everything has come together, then it's time to add the eggs as well as the butter to the dough. And then we also add the sugar and start the mixer again. We can also increase the speed by this a little bit. After about 5 minutes we add the salt and then mix it for about 2 minutes until we get our window pane test successfully done. This looks good, so it's time to put that onto our countertop and give it some slap and folds before I'm using the dough scraper to form a round shape ball. It's quite sticky, I'm not sure what I have done wrong. Maybe I should have kneaded it for 2 more minutes. But this will be better after some rest. So I put that into a plastic box which I have greased a little bit with neutral oil, and this will rest now for 30 minutes on the countertop. After 30 minutes it's time to do our first set of coil folds. Therefore I wet my hand and I pull up the dough and fold it over. And then I'm rotating the box and do the same thing again. I did that another time, and then another time 90 degrees rotated. Then I close the lid, give it 30 minutes a rest, and then I'm doing exactly the same thing like before, a second set of coil folds. So in this first 2 hours where we're doing these coil folds, it's important to give the dough a lot of strengthening. Third set of coil after another 30 minutes. And then we wait another 30 minutes before we do a fourth set of coil and folds. You see already here, the dough has already gained a lot of strength, so the gluten network is perfectly developed. After 3 hours of fermentation, I can dump the dough container on my floured countertop. Then I'm dividing the dough into 270 gram portions. I'm using a kitchen scale for that. We want to have 3 of each per loaf pan at the end. That's why we divide it into 6. Then we are stretching out each of these dough balls, and what we're doing is we want to roll them up. So you can flour them a little bit so that they do not stick that much, and then all you need to do is just roll them up. You can also, of course, use a rolling pin to flatten them. Probably you can even flatten them more out and you get a better tension at the end. I just said I can do that all by myself with the hand. Then I'm putting them in the loaf pan. And then also rolling up the second and the third of the dough balls. Use your dough scraper to add some more tension. And once all of them are in the loaf pan, you can put that to the side and then repeat the process with the second loaf pan. So stretch them a little bit and roll them up. Then use the dough scraper to get some more tension. You can hold them with the fingers. That helps you to get the tension better into the dough. Place them in the loaf pan and then do the same with the remaining dough. Once everything is placed in the loaf pan, I close the lid and then it's time for the proofing. For me, it took like 3.5 hours. So you want to proof them up until they reach the height of the loaf pan. And then it's time to give them an egg wash. I have combined an egg yolk with some milk and then I'm using a brush to paint that onto the loaves. I have already preheated the oven at 250 degrees Celsius, that's 482 degrees Fahrenheit, and I bake them with steam for 45 minutes. And when I put them in the oven, I directly reduce the temperature to 180 degrees Celsius, that's 356 degrees Fahrenheit, and I will bake them for 45 minutes in total. I probably next time not start with 250 degrees Celsius, maybe with 220. This will not brown the Shokupans so much. I will place them on a cooling rig for chilling a little bit before it's time to taste them. I spray some water on top. And then we are done with the breads. So let's enjoy some beautiful pictures. Don't they look gorgeous? Really nice. A little bit too brown in my opinion, but as I said, next time reduce the temperature. And what you can do with the Shokupan, you can tear them apart with your hands, and this looks so cool. The bread is so soft. You can even squeeze it and it goes back into its original shape. And the bread is so soft that you can literally tear it off. It's so incredible. Enjoy this bread. Bon appetit. I hope you enjoyed this recipe. I will definitely bake that again, and then I will slightly reduce the temperature to 220 degrees Celsius and then 14 to 180 degrees Celsius, and then maybe bake it like 5 minutes longer. If you want to support me and my channel, please like this video, subscribe to my channel and turn on notifications so you don't miss my next videos. I wish you a great day. Eddie, and goodbye.